It's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you a paper pumpkin alternative, as promised, and the technique which I am doing, which is going to be the double embossing technique. And before we get started, I'm a little beat up, so I had a little incident and my mom brain got the best of me. We were at the orchard with the kiddos and my 1.5-year-old was on a platform. It was like a big jungle gym and he was kind of like not sure of himself and he didn't know if he wanted to go down the slide and it was a beautiful day and it was busy at the orchard and the kiddos were all kind of like getting impatient as he wasn't moving and it was probably like 8 feet up. Nothing about this was dangerous for anyone but me, but so I was trying to coach him down or away from the slide so the other kids could go. And he just wasn't going. So I ran up to go get him down and yeah. So on the platforms there were these like door frame type things that were set at about 4.5 or 5 feet. I think to deter the older kids from getting too much involved in this play set. And I smoked it real hard. And I'm doing okay, but I figured I may as well tell you guys why I look like I'm all messed up because I don't know. I kind of broke my glasses a little bit. I obviously cracked the bridge of my nose. I have a nice big bruise working on up there and threw my head back and yeah, I'm feeling my age. Oh man, I'm in fine spirits. I'm doing okay. This happened yesterday. I pre-recorded this. So yeah, it happened over the weekend, but oh man, I kind of had my blinders on. I was like, I gotta go help my kid and yeah, so I'm okay though. So I just thought I'd share with you how that all went before we get into this beautiful card that we're gonna make. So after long wait, this is what we've got. It's the double embossing technique. So you can see here, I've got a background embossed on here. It's the, yeah, so my brain's not quite with it either. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't get a concussion, but it's the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. And then we've got these beautiful leaves embossed into it. So that's the technique I'm gonna show off today. And here's our paper pumpkin alternative. I did paper pumpkin last week with you guys and we made the wheelbarrow, which was very cute. Just give me a second here. So we made these pumpkin boxes and then my pseudo alternative was this wheelbarrow, which was made out of the box. And I felt a little guilty that I didn't have a card alternative because I definitely am one of those people that I much prefer when the paper pumpkin kits have cards in them. So if you did get this kit and wanted to make cards, I wanted to have something to show you. So I worked on it. I came up with an idea. I love it. And I'm going to show off how we did it. So double embossing. So first, take your piece, and I gotta find it. So I have here, I think it's 3.5 by 4 3/4. 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, and this is very vanilla, I think is what this is called. So this is embossed using the Tasteful Textiles 3D embossing folder. So we're gonna take plate number 1, we're gonna take our piece of paper and our embossing folder and emboss it with the number 4 plate, okay? So Magic of TV, I did that already. Okay, so this is dry embossed, but we're not gonna stop there. So now you can get rid of these supplies and bring in, woo! Okay, so we're gonna start with the number 1 base. Then we're going to take our clean cutting mat, so the one that doesn't have the cuts in it. Chris's materials are loved, as I'm sure you can imagine. So hers is warped, but that is okay. And then the next piece of our sandwich is our silicone mat. Then you're gonna lay your dies, no, just kidding. Then you're gonna lay your piece of paper down. Then you're gonna lay your dies down upside down. So cutting side up, because what we're doing is we're pressing this part of the die into our paper, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So I kind of laid it out, and obviously this is just for this design. You can use whatever you want, but do note that I am using the dies with the pretty filled in backs, because like a die like this per se would push the silver parts in, but then the middle wouldn't push down in, if that makes any sense. And I shall tell you, we are using the Intricate Leaves dies, because when I saw the paper pumpkin kit, that was initially what really set out to me was what was going to work well with this. So I laid them out somewhat like this. Then, so now remember, the cutting side is facing up. So now we need to put our cutting plate down. And it's a little harder on Chris's here because of the curve here. And then last but not least, we need a shim. So approximately, I'm just checking to see if I kind of knocked my surface. This is not the best, this camera setup is not the best amount of space that I really need here. But, okay, so then you're gonna take about 6 sheets of text weight paper as a shim, okay? So now that's our sandwich. Then you go ahead and roll it through. Okay, I'm gonna take this out of the way because we should be done with this now. And we're gonna unpack our sandwich. So text weight paper is either garbage or hold on to it if this is something you plan on doing more often. Then we've got our cutting plate. Now, again, Chris's materials are well loved. So we've got some paper remnants from the cutting plate that have come onto here. But that is okay because it just comes off. But let me blow that stuff out of the way. So here's what we got. We have this beautiful, so the textile texture remains on the background, and then you've got these leaves set into it. Now, you do see these little kind of like freckles. So on the dies, there are holes all over it for you to take your pick tool and push the paper pieces out. So that, of course, is going to come across. It's not that noticeable or that distracting per se, but I just thought this was so, so cool. So now let me walk you through how I finished the rest of this. Just gonna move some of these supplies out of my way. The silicone mat is, in my mind, a very underrated product in our catalog. I have found many uses for it, and because it's silicone, so it's very like stretchy and pliable, it's very resistant. So obviously we just shoved, sorry, I got real stuck together there because of the curve. We just used a hard die surface against it, but it's so resilient because it's so flexible and so pliable that you can't even see. There's no markings or anything. So very cool, very inexpensive product. It's definitely good thing to have in your crafting arsenal. Okay, so that is that. Let's bring the sample card back. Where did I put that? Oh, I'm losing it. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so that is how we made the background. I then took a piece of very vanilla thick. So when you're using basic white or very vanilla as your card base, it is best practice to always use the thick cardstock to give your card a little more integrity. So there's a tip there. And I have just a standard card base here at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and burnished with a bone folder. So that's my card base. Then I have a mat of soft succulent at 3 3/4 by 5. And then of course that that very vanilla piece that we just worked so hard on is our next layer. So that is how we would layer this baby up. Now, this is a paper pumpkin alternative, so if you are trying to craft along with us, my apologies. We always use only current materials. However, I'm kind of playing double duty here and doing a paper pumpkin alternative at the same time that I'm doing this Technique Thursday. So some of these supplies are unattainable if you didn't subscribe for paper pumpkin. But all the more reason why you definitely want to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, because it is the best. I love their kits. Okay, so then I wanted to utilize as many pieces from the kit as possible because, like I said, if you aren't the type of person that enjoys non-traditional projects, so like this was treat holders, and maybe you wanted to do something different with it, I wanted you to be able to use these supplies to make cards. So I wanted to use this tag, except for it doesn't go with the color scheme. White and vanilla typically don't work together very well. So what I did was I made my own tag somewhere. Oh, here it is. So I used the thank you stamp from the stamp set. I love these stamps. Small little sentiments. Thank you. Hey there, pumpkin. I pick you every time. You're a blessing and happy Halloween. So just a small little sentiment. I wanted to punch it out so that it was like a tag, and then I banner cut it. So then I took the turtle punch, ironically. I needed a little hole punch, and I used his eye punch to punch that hole there. Then, look at this beautiful, it's kind of like raffia. I don't know if that's the right word, but I took one of these things. When we were doing the paper pumpkin, I asked for help. I really don't know what this is. There's a wire in the inside of it, and it's like this rolled craft paper. And I don't know if there's a real word for what it is, but I didn't have it. So it's used for the stem, for the pumpkins or apples or whatever these all are. But again, if you're not using this kit for the treats, then you don't want to waste them per se. So what I did was I took and pulled the wire out of the middle and unraveled this. This is half of it, and this is the other half of it, and got this really beautiful textured craft colored piece. So I folded it in half, tucked it in here, and got my little tails off of my banner. And then I layered a bunch of leaves that I die cut out of these intricate leaves dies. So I took all of these ones that are the like intricate dies and die cut out of the pumpkin boxes. So in this paper pumpkin kit, there were 3 different colors. So there was this orange with, so pumpkin pie with Poppy Parade with these awesome color, awesome textures on it. Then we've got Poppy Parade and soft succulent. And then this is soft succulent. And I don't know if this is pale papaya or not. That's kind of the closest that I could come up with it. So those are what came in the kit. And what I did was I took one of these, actually 2 of them. So this whole pile of leaves, plus the leaves on this card, are from two total of these boxes. So I just laid the dies on here, and I'll get some more out to just show you how many you can get out of here. It was amazing to me. So I actually put this die on the base because it just fit. And then I basically laid all of these out. And got just a boatload. And then I honestly put this one in here too somewhere. Now this one went over a seam. So there was a score line through it, but to be honest with you, once you run it through the die cutting machine, that kind of flattens out and you don't really notice it anyways. And then I had to run it a second time to get leaves out of this because I used all the dies. You get so many leaves out of it. It is amazing. I didn't know at the time that I was die cutting these exactly what my card was going to lay out like. So I kind of just did a wide variety of them, and you know, obviously they're front and back, so I was able to flip the leaves over. I decided in the end that I didn't want to use this Poppy Parade color, so I used the orange side and the green side. And I just flipped them over if I needed to get the colors that I needed. So I grabbed a variety of leaves from my leaf pile and then laid them behind my banner and put some of these beautiful rhinestones. They're not rhinestones, but I cannot think of what they're called right now. They're from that the Harvest Meadow suite. So I just really love how this card turned out. I keep rubbing off some of the stuff from the die cutting plate. It's still a little messy. I didn't do the best job cleaning it, but this is what I got. So what do you guys think of this alternative card, and what do you think of the technique? I thought it was really cool. I was inspired by a different demonstrator. I can't even remember who it was, but I saw them do it and kind of took notes about how to like lay out the sandwich and did it for the first time. It worked really well. I do think I maybe could have used a few less sheets of printer paper. My sandwich had 6 sheets and the dies sunk in plenty deep into the cardstock, so I probably could have gotten by with 4 or 5. 6 by all means worked though, so I didn't change it. I just went with it. So yeah, so I am pleased to share with you finally the paper pumpkin alternative and this technique, and I hope you have a wonderful day and catch Chris later tonight for some live card making.